Yeah. Sometimes you just got to go to the horse's mouth, y'all. Like the probably one of the rooms that has the most pressure in order for this Browns team to have success, which has probably the most newest parts, is the offensive line. We got Coach Warhop. He finally dropped on let me see what website is this. We on YouTube, but the Cleveland Browns YouTube channel. We going I know you do say something about Dawand Jones. That's somebody I'm very curious about. Like I know Spencer Fano, nice, and but at that right tackle, I've seen Dawand Jones be decent at times before. I'm still optimistic on him. He playing for a contract. He playing to, stay in shape and all that. But I kind of want him in the starting lineup. So I want to hear from Warhop, hear what he got to say about the current state of the Browns offensive line with all the moving parts. He actually gives some insight of how he plans to field the offensive line. I think he mentioned we're gonna pick the starters because he don't like people moving around. I heard him say something like that. But then the backups are going to be based off their versatility to play multiple positions. So them, which means them backups is getting a lot of more work. I mean, you probably working more than one position. I don't know. So look, man, let the homie talk. Let me let the homie. While we here, let me queue up a couple more. Get a couple bonuses in here. These don't look that long. You can go ahead and add them up. And then we're gonna do closed captions to make sure that you can see what they saying. You got the voice booster, so y'all should hear him fine. And then I like to save a little time. We're gonna put it up about 1:30, 1:35. All right, we go.
Yep. Practices. How is that complicating you finding your five best?
I mean, it's always a challenge when guys miss practice. But I think he's coming back fairly quick, and we're early enough in camp that it shouldn't factor too much. But I don't like guys missing time, especially when they're in a competitive situation.
At left tackle, we're seeing Dawand and Spencer Fano alternate day by day. How are both of those guys doing? And I know you had some high praise for Dawand. How is he sort of attacking this early?
No, I think they're both doing fine. I mean, I think it's to our benefit to let those guys compete to see who's going to be the left tackle. Because there's no greater way to increase a player's production than using competition. So we need Spencer to get used to playing on the left side and develop him. We need Dawand, to be the best version of himself. If he happens to be our starting left tackle, we need him to be that, right? We don't need him to be on the second team or the third team. We need him fighting for the first team job. So I think it's beneficial for the players in the long run. It's beneficial for us in the long run. They're both improving. They're both going to be good players because of it.
Yesterday, Todd mentioned conversations. Titus Howard slide inside to get the line on the field.
I haven't had those conversations. I mean, that's a possibility. Titus is very flexible, right? In Houston, my 1 year with him in Houston, midpoint of the season, we lost the guard. He had to go play left guard, and he did a fine job. He's very flexible, but right now he's our right tackle.
Okay.
I don't believe in moving guys around because when we have a need, once we get through the early part of camp and we start seeing it settle down, then we'll see what we want to do. But as of today, Titus is our right tackle.
Okay.
How would you
See, this is where I have to do.
Here you go.
I got to insert what I would like. I want Dawand Jones at that right tackle spot, and I hope he hungry enough and ready enough that if he gets an opportunity, I want him to play like an all-pro, man. I really think he can be good. I think this year he's locked in. We ain't ever had him locked in. He locked in. Side note, they said it got chippy at practice. Junkins hit Mike Hall, man. It is gonna be so healthy having all these Ohio State players on this team. He's so competitive, bruh. Like this started with Denzel, man. Hey, I'm excited.
After left tackle, ninth pick, how would you describe Dawand's attitude not as like that job?
I think Dawand's been fine. I mean, like I said this spring, I like Dawand. He's a smart guy, right? He's really a pretty bright guy. He's funny, a great personality, really good in the room, and he's doing what he has to do to compete. So I like what I see. I like the kid, so it should be fun.
How did you know that?
Joe Thomas has always been so complimentary of you, and I just saw that you met Spencer and this year. Though, like, first of all, what kind of resource is that for Spencer? And then did you get to catch up with?
Well, I didn't know Joe was here yesterday, but if any of those guys can talk to Joe, it's a great resource.
Look, man, part of being coachable, listen to what my man's about to say. They about to start getting into the Joe Thomas thing. Fano made sure he got some Joe Thomas time. Pause. He gonna get him. He gonna shoot out some homework. We're gonna see if the rest of the line and the rookies take heed in it, because there's multiple veteran offensive linemen. They from other teams, but they came in here, and I'm curious to see how many of them have made sure that they got to run into Joe Thomas or talk to Joel Bitonio, who been floating around the scene. Yeah, I know it could have been kind of still competition with Joe Bitonio because he might have came back, but I am interested to see if any of them other veterans outside of Fano, who was a rookie, reached out to Joe Thomas. And then even the coach is gonna say, like, shit, if you haven't, yeah, you a dumbass. You a dumbass.
Any of them, because Joe was the ultimate pro. Great work ethic, great study habits, fantastic notes, could watch tape. I mean, my last couple of years here, he and Alex Mack would split the room and watch tape with him, and so guys could understand how they watch tape. So I think he's a great resource. And if I'm an lineman here and I'm a tackle here and I don't reach out to Joe, I'm a dumbass. Okay.
George, you mentioned versatility. You know, Elton Jenkins is versatile.
Right.
Zion Johnson's going back. I mean, but versatility is good in emergency situations. Do you want the players at their best position?
Well, that's a complicated way to say that, right?
Listen to this.
I think when you're trying to establish something, versatility is good to get your best five on the field. Okay, when you have an established line, versatility is good to have guys that can play multiple spots and backups. Okay, we're not that. We're still going to be in the position of trying to find our best five. So the fact that Titus could move, if that was something we wanted to do, that's a bonus. Right. He can play center and guard. The fact that he's done that and tackle, that gives us the ability to find our best five. So that's where we are. But once we get an established line, the versatility is really for the guys who can play multiple spots as backups. So
I know the other day after practice, Jared was going to go through some just one-on-one work with Spencer after practice, kind of work through some things, talk technique and whatnot. Just how much do you appreciate? How valuable is that for, especially a young guy, to get some of that time?
I think he does that with everybody. First of all, Jared is impressive, right? But he's talking to him from a defensive perspective, right? Which is great for a young guy to hear, right? What he's looking at, why he's going to attack him a certain way. That's great knowledge, right? So he's going to get a different perspective than I'm giving him. And I think as long as you can embrace that and absorb all that, it's going to help just raise your ceiling.
You had two centers out yesterday, but the good news is they got Whippler on the field for a lot of reps.
Okay.
What did you see? That's been a long time coming.
I like Whip. Whip's a good little player, right? He's competitive. He's super smart. The guys trust him, which is really impressive, right? He's like having a coach on the field. He studies his ass off. So I think it was good for him. It's good for us. I mean, he's another guy in a position. He's competing to be on this team. Anytime you have a chance to be on the field and show what you can do, I think it's positive for you as an individual.
Spencer, what are the maybe a couple of things that you guys are paying the most attention to when he's working?
Everything. I mean, the biggest challenge for Spencer, and he's really gotten comfortable going from the right into the left side. Okay, that's the first. And then the next thing, he's really embraced the competition, right? Which is outstanding. The fact that the guys we have playing defensive end out there, 91, number 8, 57, all those guys are unique and different guys, and he's seeing them all. All right, and there's a lot of trash talking going on, and he's not backing up one inch. So I really, that part of it's been outstanding.
KT's starting to get a larger share of the reps. How's he doing, and how does he sort of keep it?
How does he keep it? Play good. Simple. Get better every day, right? So KT, I like him, big body guy, can move, but he's got to stack good days like anybody that's competing for a job. Okay.
Sitting back from the spring, these guys obviously in the classroom working to learn the concepts that you were trying to instill in them. First week of pads, multiple practices. How cleanly was that translated to the field, and how did you maybe step in?
I think some parts of it's been pretty good. I mean, when you watch these guys come off the ball, we're doing a nice job in the run game for the most part. Very physical, displacing the line of scrimmage, starting to understand strain, starting to understand finishing downfield, getting a good grasp of how we want to protect and technically how we want to protect and how we want to play position. That's key for us, right? And so that's probably the biggest challenge because every line coach is different in how they teach that. I want it done a certain way, in particular for tackles, and that's probably the biggest adjustments they're going to have to make. The guards, it's fairly easy. The centers, it's fairly easy. Tackles, we ask them to do some.
When guys play next to each other, they like, just talking to
you want it done a certain way. I like this.
Each other's footwork, how they work double teams, communication, all that. So like when guys haven't played with each other and you got like a whole new group, like what's the biggest obstacle?
The biggest obstacle is understanding what we want to do first, right? The comfort and the communication.
The operations.
Right. Right now we all communicate the same, right? So we're communicating at the line of scrimmage. Everybody's talking the same language. We haven't gotten to the point where my right guard and right tackle have words they say to each other that have meaning, right? That comes in time Right now, sometimes that doesn't come until your second or third year playing together. So right now, that's a non-issue. We need to figure out who's going to be our starting five, and we need to play like we want to play like a Brown, be physical, be tough, make fuckers, make guys deal with us.
Yeah,
A good way to end it.
yeah, I like that.
Who's better? Caden for the twos had a little back-to-back hiccup that we just kicked him off the field, but that's part of it. But we're getting better. We are getting better at it. Quarterbacks are getting better. I could see that yesterday. A couple times we changed some plays at the line of scrimmage. We were down on the clock, but a couple days before we wouldn't have gotten it off. So a lot better. I don't know that yet. They were out here before snap and giving it a shot. I don't know if we'll have them out there today. Well, it's all part of the evaluation process, but everything's not weighted equally, right? I mean, are we talking about the quarterbacks in general? Is that what we're getting at? Yeah. So in general, I mean, ultimately, the quarterback that's going to play is the one that gives us the best chance to score points. So it's all part of that. But I would hope that we could get the quarterbacks and our offense to operate at a high level, and then have the most talented guy that puts points on the board for us be the starter. In that situation, it was. In that situation, we were trying to get that done, and that's all part of it. And then getting our O-line comfortable, then when we do get a defensive player to jump in the neutral zone, if we're in the tap world, we'll be able to tap.
It kind of feels like there's like competition for the third linebacker spot. And Easton seems like he's been out there a decent amount, especially with Carson out. What did you see?
Well, I mean, all he does is work. And we were just talking about it yesterday, his attention to detail, right? Rarely makes the same mistake twice. Every day is the same for him in terms of his attitude, his energy, his body language. And I've been impressed with all of those linebackers, including him. You can certainly see the difference when the pads come on. You know, I think at times we get enamored when we're in the spring with guys that can run around and have athleticism. But obviously, all of those guys, along with Easton, you can really see their strength when the pads come on.
Hey, Todd, we just talked about what kind of priority was it? Like, how high of a priority was it?
Well, it's a high priority. I mean, I've been with George. This will now be our 6th year together, 3 in Tampa, then 2 in Baltimore. You know, we've been through a lot together. We kind of were able to play off each other a little bit. He believes in the same things I do, you know, in terms of making people deal with us.
I ain't realized they've been rocking that long.
So it was critical. I mean, you can't do it by yourself. I mean, getting George, Coach Schweitzer, Danny Breyer, and Ian, all those guys to come from Baltimore, along with Mike Bajakian and Jeff Blasco, guys I'd worked with before, makes the transition a heck of a lot smoother.
That is an interesting aspect where out of all them people from Baltimore, some of them could have went with the head coach. A lot of them went with Monken. Granted, he did get the offensive people, but like, I don't know. It's just interesting that when Baltimore dissolved last year and the head coach went somewhere and Todd Monken became a head coach, which puts a little rivalry there. I think he went to the Giants. Most of that staff, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of that staff, I won't say a lot. I mean, I won't say most. A lot of that staff went with Todd Monken.
Today is insert play actions and insert runs. So really that's what it is today with a fullback or tight end, insert and play actions off of that. And then there's some others that are almost auxiliary that we wanted to get in today. And there's a few repeat concepts just because as you get further along, the installs shrink.
When you start to 10 my question is, when you have to go to a silent snap, what kind of work goes into preparing?
It's definitely a challenge. And because in those instances, you probably don't carry all 10. You just don't. Try to carry as many as you can. But it's certainly much harder on the road when you go to a silent count, for sure. Forces you to be extra diligent, guys be on point. And a lot of it ends up, a lot of the onus falls on the center now, right? In terms of delaying the snaps and the variations and the mannerisms, if that makes sense, of the center. Well, when I was interviewing for the job, and then when I got the job, I had reached out to Joe. Joe obviously played for George as well, Warhop. And I said, hey, we got a spot for you if you want to help us coach. And he said, I love to coach. He said, I don't think I want to commit to an everyday contract. So I said, that's fine. Anytime you want to come out here and help our guys, you're more than welcome. And we certainly would welcome that.
That's fire. That's fire. Hopefully that's legal. Hopefully that's legal. But that's fire. Independent Joe Thomas just schedule some times to come in. If Joe Thomas is watching the game week 3 and he don't like stuff, he pulling up. I like that. I like that. Let me run that back. I like that. That's
And then they
fire.
put you an everyday contract. So I said, that's fine. Anytime you want to come out here and help our guys, you're more than welcome. And we certainly would
Mm.
welcome that. Well, sure. A number of your, I don't know if the word is auxiliary staff, but those that don't have a position group, certainly one of the advantages you have to having a big staff is they have time to be able to spend with our players when maybe a position coach is getting ready for another meeting. So Danny Breyer was with me in Tampa a while back, but he was on defense. And then he was with us at Baltimore for 3 years and now with us. And he's been invaluable in terms of projects, in terms of game planning. And obviously Felton coming back here really has headed up, along with James Cook, the ability for our guys uh, using their iPad more efficiently. Really, that's the biggest thing to their advantage, and study when they're outside the building. It'll change a little bit in terms of really
Look,
throwing.
this is just so much better than, and this is, I know we all, I can't say we all because I'm about to do it. The contrast with Kevin Stefanski, man. I feel like we go in the press conference and you have more questions than when you leave. Todd Monken has given us great insight as to how they operate. And I don't think it puts the team at a disadvantage by him sharing some of this stuff with the media, man. A lot of people are gonna be able to learn from this. You might have high school coaches do stuff like this where they bring people in on time, the money trickling down. So this is gonna make for
Down to
football.
who we think we are at this point, obviously subject to change, but that's really it. And then you'll get into more of situational football. You'll get into maybe more of your trying to get to premier plays. You'll try to work in now that everything's installed. Then you'll also have to start working a little bit in terms of what we don't see from our defense if you're talking offensively, in terms of odd front, which you're going to see from a number of the teams we're going to play this year, especially the place I was last year. So we got to work a little bit of that. That's really what you start to dive into.
Yeah. So like even based off what he's saying there, when we going against teams that have a similar front that our team runs, those reps really help and count because you've been able to see some stunts. You've been able to get a lot of good versus whatever our defensive front is. So when we face other teams with that same defensive front, it should be the offense and the run game should look a little smoother because they got more reps against it. Now he said the odd front is something you kind of got to deal with. Changes the assignments per run, like for real, whether it's front side, back side, it changes the combinations. It changes a lot of things, but he already planning on like, nah, we got a little time, a couple, I don't know what the fronts they running down in Florida. We play Jacksonville and we play I think Tampa early. So but I'm liking Warhop's plan, man. He sound offensive. He sound like he getting the troops ready. We heard Warhop say, man, we can't even worry about all that. We got to get the start five first, and then I worry about like they've done this before. I like this.
That's sometimes. I think it's probably been like anything when you're installing, you're going against a really good defense. I'm not sure stacking days has come up. I think what we're trying to do is stack as many good plays as we can within what we're asking them to do on a given day. I'd much prefer stacking really good days, but as a head coach, if the offense is stacking really good days, this probably means the defense wasn't stacking a very good day. So within every practice, usually there's give and take, some ebb and flow of practice, some things that you all don't see, and some things that at the moment we don't see until we see it on tape. So it's really how many plays in a row can we stack? Today we'll get a chance to move the ball a little bit. We'll get a chance to see a little bit like 2 minute, where you do have to stack a number of plays. Where when you're just installing, you're just running plays, and it's hard to really know, are we really being efficient consistently to be able to move the ball and score points? Sure. I think you can see, first of all, the first thing we're trying to do is create the best version of our players that we can and get them to the top end of their measurables.
I love the transparency.
If we do that from a developmental standpoint, and then we have a system that allows our players to play fast, then we have something. But it starts with the players in terms of developing them to play at the highest, like I said, level of their skill set. So that's the first part. Are we getting our players to improve on a daily basis? At times, we may not see it collectively because we're rotating a number of players. But I think ultimately get that right. Then what do they do well? And then, blend them into the system and then see, once we get moving the football, Bills, preseason games, really start to see it come together.
Saw that video though.
Well, you can see the connection that we have, the guys, and I think that's a credit to them. I mean, they like being around each other. You can see it in the locker room. You can see it on the field. You can see it by the way we warm up. You can see it when they're around each other. I think our staff does a great job with that. I think certainly we would want our players, started in the offseason, it's our job to make our players want to be here around us in terms of their
You said that multiple times.
right? Are they getting everything they need to make the most money they can and for us to be the best team? Well, that's part of that. They want to be around each other, want to be around the staff, feel like they're getting developed. I think that's carried over.
Damn, straight to it. 12 interceptions in camp.
Some of it's part of that. I mean, 12 interceptions, you're looking at probably all the above, right? Really good players. One of them's Denzel making a great play. Some fall down, come under the umbrella of pressure. Quarterback's under duress. Sometimes it's a misread. Sometimes it's a poor call. And put them in a very advantageous position. Sometimes you get a tip ball.
I like that he took accountability at the end. He even said sometimes it's a bad call. That's hard, bruh. Accountability at the top.
Underneath, and ball gets tipped against zone defense. Some fall down, come under the umbrella of pressure. Quarterback's under duress. Sometimes it's a misread. Sometimes it's a poor call. Then put them in a very advantageous position. Sometimes you get a tip ball. Quarterback doesn't keep it net down underneath, and the ball gets tipped against zone defense. So it's really all the above. But disguises are a part of that, and really good football players are a part of that.
I saw that video you talked about Team Fano. So people call you crazy.
It's a matter of what term they use it by, and what's it in reference of. I mean, crazy in terms of like what we all are crazy in a little bit of what's important to us, right? Like crazy is probably strong, but I mean, passion might be it. Might be that, like when we get out there, we cross the lines or we go in the meetings. I mean, it's our job as coaches, as I always say, to confront anything that gets in the way of winning football. I mean, that's our job. I mean, ultimately. And so that part of it is going to frustrate me when we don't, including myself. I hope I do a good job of owning that when I'm not on point. And I feel like I have over the years. So that part of it is I owe it to the players for what they want out of their careers and what we want out of our team to when we go out there, that we should fight like hell to be perfect in everything that we do, knowing that we're going to fall short. But we ought to fight like hell for it. If that's crazy, then I just feel like that's my job. So, good. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, it's
it's weird because I had no problem giving Deshaun Watson his flowers yesterday. Deshaun had, by everybody that was out there, the best practice he's had, at the very least, since going back to minicamps. Had one person tell me best practice as a Cleveland Brown.
And real quick for a little bit. Deshaun Watson had a great practice. Everybody talking about it. We're going to see. I was talking about in the spaces. Bernie Kosar was on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show in the last couple of years. He was talking about he had the same injury Deshaun had and how the effect of it was when he throws the ball, he's not trying to make bad throws. So when they go in the dirt and all that, like, it's kind of just the arm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm happy that he had a day where he tore it up. So hopefully he can reciprocate whatever process he did to get ready. Mary Kay put the fatality out on him early, so his arm looked weak, like he needed breaks coming out of OTA. So hopefully he got, stronger since then. At least got some rest on it. But
I kind of wanted to wait and see. All right, what's the narrative out there? Because again, the last time, and I don't know how you feel about this, the last time we had talked about the quarterback spot before yesterday, it was, man, Shador's really taking advantage of this. Right. He had been the only quarterback to that point that had gone against the ones and had the better day, and it happened in the last two practices. So I was kind of keeping a watchful eye on this, and so I thought it was interesting. Mike Garafolo was on SportsCenter today and gave his thought on who will start week one.
I've been on this since February. I was at the scouting combine. I had people telling me Deshaun Watson's going to be the starter for the Browns. Like, that's the worst kept secret in the NFL back in February. And then all of a sudden you started to see the way they played out in the spring and some of the answers that you got from the coaching staff and others there. It's going to be Watson, which is amazing because owner Jimmy Haslam had said before that they, quote, took a swing and a miss with Deshaun Watson. Made it seem like it was over. And now all of a sudden, here's Watson coming back here. He's still got to fend off Shador. He's still got to practice well and play well in the preseason. But my guess is that my educated guess is going to be Deshaun Watson.
All right. So this, nothing that Mike Garafolo said there felt new. It felt like he was reflexively going back to his take before training camp started. So then I turned on the Morning Boys today. Good show today. Didn't hear enough shots about me, but that's okay. That's their show. It's not always about me, but it's nicer when it is. Mary Kay Cabot joined the Morning Boys today. And basically throughout this line about who, if the season started tomorrow, she believes will be the starting quarterback.
If the season started tomorrow, I think it would be Deshaun. Again, I could be wrong about that. I still think it is a competition. I don't think Todd is going to call it yet, but I think he's dropping some breadcrumbs along the way here and there. He talks about you have to be elite at cadence if you want to be an elite offense. And which of those two guys is more elite at cadence? Deshaun showed yesterday in drawing Jared Verse offsides twice on fourth down that he's elite at cadence. He used 6 of them, I'm told, to do that. So there are certain things that he is ready to do right now that I think Shador is still learning.
All right. I'm just going to say this. I'm not trying to be tinfoil hat guy. I don't think it's a coincidence that Deshaun Watson had his best set of practices in the entire camp on pretty soft 11 on 11s, by the way, and 7 on 7s. And all of a sudden, we've had this renewed push for Deshaun Watson. I don't think this was an accident. I've heard this, about 7 times in the last 12 hours or so.
Okay, so I'm not trying to put on my tinfoil cap here either, but are you kind of implying that maybe this is a fake fight? Maybe this is a fake competition. And that's been my fear with this from Jump Street. This is not a real competition. That we had those reports before minicamp even opened up in the spring that Watson was the leader in the clubhouse. You heard Todd say, of course, I'm open for a clean slate for Deshaun and all my players. And it definitely feels like the more the days go on, we're getting primed for Deshaun Watson.
So here's the thing. If you want to put on, if your spidey senses are telling you put on the tinfoil hat, I'm not going to talk you off the ledge because the burden is on the proof of a new head coach and this organization to prove the machinations with which they ran last year's quarterback competition. And I'm going to say that in quotations, that those are a thing of Kevin Stefanski and not of Todd Monken. So even though I'm a big fan of Monken the Maximizer, the Browns themselves have been so steadfast in Deshaun Watson that it's something that proved to me that this is just merely a coincidence, that this is more of a media thing the last 12 hours and less a Browns thing.
I don't know that it is just a media thing, though, because where are these media people getting this from? Where is Garafolo getting this from in Indianapolis? Where did Mary Kay hear that? Obviously here yesterday and then on the air with Ken and Lima this morning. Like, where is this stuff coming from?
It could be them just hitting back to their. I think Mary Kay expected Deshaun to be the starter. Garafolo has been on the record.
Right.
There's a chance that there's just the first time they were able to reaffirm the thing that they've thought. For the first time in about a week, we've been able to say this.
But Watson has one good day of 6 so far. And everybody's ready to anoint him the starting quarterback, whereas the 5 days prior, it was, well, neither of these quarterbacks have looked stellar.
Part of why I think Deshaun been put in this power position here, the pole position for the quarterback, is I do think that they want to use Deshaun to push Shador as far as Shador will go.
Sure.
And so trying to give him no quarter, and I think anybody who was out here until yesterday would say Shador has looked solid and consistently solid. So it looked like Shador was running away from this thing. So I can also frame any of what we heard today after one good practice from Deshaun as damage control from the Browns, who want to, again, continue to have this thing pumping and churning as to continue to keep Shador on whatever righteous path they think they need to keep him on.
Because it was loud yesterday, wasn't it? There were so many people. It felt like everybody that you could read, listen to, follow on social media was just talking about what a great day it was for Deshaun Watson. It's like, well, let's also not forget that defense was without 4 or 5 starters that were injured. It was a little bit of a softer 7 on 7, 11 on 11. I don't know. It just felt like everybody was kind of going out of their way to really prop up Deshaun Watson coming into today's practice. So I don't know what it means, Nick, but it definitely makes me nervous. I will say that.
I think the most likely thing is they felt the narrative about the quarterback position getting out of control. They're not ready to make that decision, and they wanted to pull it even optically. I still think a lot of what we've heard in the last 12 hours is a lot of, again, just trying to corral that narrative.
Like level the playing field, because there's been so much Shador. There's been a lot of the fact that just these quarterbacks aren't great. Like that's really been the overarching sentiment until yesterday, where you hear that, okay, it was really Watson's day. There were no interceptions. That's been an issue for him throughout camp so far. So yeah, maybe they did just want to level the playing field going into today, which is the final day of installs, by the way.
And
so now maybe some of the excuses for both of these guys fade a little bit because everything's going to be installed after
I know
today.
Deshaun fans get very reflexive here when you start talking about the Browns trying to rig this for Deshaun. I still think the most likely thing here is the Browns are trying to use the history of Deshaun and meaning like the Houston side of things and the contract is a way to keep him to keep pushing Shador to see if they can keep him growing at the accelerated pace that they've had this summer. So I look at it as they want to make sure in that locker room people know that Shador earned it when they do turn the keys over to him. But you can't deny there's been a renewed push for this idea of Deshaun as a starter, and you just can't ignore it. It can't be coincidental. It happened after one good practice from Deshaun.
Don't fault I'm trying to play the spaces. What just happened? I cannot find this space, y'all. I cannot find this space. Okay, now just go to Moms and then go to my post. I gotta practice more. Here we go. This should be the quickest way.
Getting to this money, bro. What's going on?
No, man, I was just trying to do a little spaces, man. But look, I'm sick of it, man. Todd Monken got to make a decision, bro. We take like if we look at it the way it's going, if they saying, and this is what's messed up, we got to go off what they saying because I'm not there. But y'all, they got a quarterback tracker. I know they working different things. I know they got hope, but even Shador ain't looking crisp. So he need all the reps, bruh. I think it's time to turn the pay. I think I trust Monken though. I trust Monken with what he doing. I think he's so arrogant. He like it don't matter which one of them out there. I can get some offense out of this, but like I do think Shador it being his second year. We need to go ahead. It's been a week. It's been about a week, bruh. It's been about a week, man. Training camp is serious, man. Like it's been about a week. I think it's time for the decision to be made, and then in the preseason, start who you want. See who you want to see. You know what I'm saying? Start them whenever then. But right now, I would like to see Shador getting starter reps. I think he clearly winning. I don't know, man. I just think I don't know. It's training camp, bro. I don't think I ever been on a team where I ain't know who the fucking starter was gonna be. I know the pros is different, but like once training camp go, we know who hot, we know who trying to be on somebody's heels, but we know who the starter gonna be, bro. By the time we, you know what I'm saying, 2-a-days and all that. Ain't that what training camp is? Like I don't know how we don't know who the Like I don't know how we don't know who the fucking quarterback is. Like what is we do? This ain't linebacker. This ain't corner. Like it's week 2. We see what's going on, man. It don't take long to get demoted in the camp.
Facts, bro.
Yeah, my fault, man. That's all my space was about, man. Was it's time, bruh. It's time. It's been about a week. Shador need all the reps he can to prepare for this week 1, so he can have a great road trip right out the gate. Possibly come out on with 2 dubs. Possibly. I'm saying I ain't saying for sure. I'm just saying like units everywhere. New receiver core for real. New. Kind of can count the running backs. D line definitely got to count. Like it's whole new units, whole new coaches. This is one thing we haven't been talking about. All new coordinators. I am optimistic that it's all new coordinators, but and the reason why I am is because Todd Monken did bring, regardless of the players they did have Lamar Jackson. The people he brought over was winning. And they've been winning for a little bit. So I do think I gotta kind of believe in the practices and the stuff that how Monken doing it. But we should be having these because like for those of you who play football, y'all know that the whole training camp is kind of geared to week one. Man, week one is big, bruh. You want to win week one. So like, yeah, you doing install, all this, that, and the third, but throughout the whole thing, you seeing their best blitzes. You having your starter defense do. Well, technical difficulties again. That's all, folks, man. Tune into the spaces, man. We get to it in there. A lot of the homies pulled up in there. Great talk yesterday. I got to check out the day 8 because I missed it. So I'm going to listen to that. Probably catching on the back end of one of these Browns videos coming out. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Shalom.
Welcome to Real McCoy TV, where faith intertwines with daily life, empowering us to inspire positive change. Our mission is not just to share our story, but to uplift our community and celebrate authentic tales of faith and family. Journey with us and witness Cleveland's vibrant sports scene alongside heartwarming church events and cherished family moments, all showcasing our shared values. New content graces your screens every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday evenings, making it easy to engage with us on this enlightening adventure. We invite you to be part of the Real McCoy experience. Whether you wish to call in, join discussions, or collaborate, your voice matters. Plus, support our mission through Cash App, GoFundMe, or Patreon. Together, we create a thriving community of faith and support where every contribution counts.